podcast, and that is Microsoft has released the features that will be accompanied with the 2021 Release Wave 2 update to Business Central, which I believe is 19.0. There is 7 main areas of focus. The first one is application features, and then they've got better with Microsoft 365, governance and administration, development, Microsoft Power Platform, modern clients, and last but definitely not least, service and platform. We're going to start off with application features. That sounds good to you?
Yeah, that's always the most fun, right? New features, new functionality for end users.
Yeah. I kind of liked it better with Microsoft 365, but
you know.
Yeah. All right. First up, we've got add additional columns through personalization and various pages to gain more insight. This is actually on one of my lists of favorites. I know it's kind of bland and it's pretty. I mean, it's not. I don't know. Not. It's going to wow you, I guess, with anything. But the way I look at it is, businesses might do business how another business does, but no two businesses are the same. I don't know if that makes sense. How can I say it? Businesses can be similar, but
no two businesses are the same.
There you go. No two businesses are the same. So the more type of customization you can do to what you want to see and the data that you need, I think the better. So if you can add more fields, more columns for things you want to see, you're ultimately going to become more productive and, more happy, have a smile ear to ear every day and whatnot. So
So through the user personalization, there's more field options that are available for people to pick and add to their pages.
Correct.
Within Business Central. I'm still waiting ultimately for the day where they'll just make all fields available for the users to add.
I don't see why they don't. Can you control who can add what fields and whatnot through permissions?
Who has the ability to use personalization?
Yeah.
Correct.
So why not? All right, Microsoft, there you go. We're gonna go put it on that suggestive idea page.
Yep. So next, moving along, one of my favorite, I think, application feature that's coming out is the ability to use non-inventory type items on the requisition worksheet and the planning worksheets. This has been something we've had multiple requests for, which is companies that they may need to drop ship certain things, and it's like they're creating a purchase order for a vendor, and the purchase order may include a bunch of items, but also freight charges or some type of processing fee or something that they're going to charge the customer for. Today, you can't pass that through a drop ship or special order unless it's an inventory type item. So a non-inventory type item, you can't do that for. Also jobs. If you're on a job and you want to order some materials, you can only do items through the requisition worksheet. And this may be for an app. But.
Okay, so obviously I'm just a marketing guy here. So the question I actually wrote down was, during the procurement process, why would you need to include non-inventory items on either the planning worksheet or requisition worksheet? So in my head, I can't understand why on the requisition worksheet or whatnot, you would put a non-inventory item.
Sure. It could be like an outsourced operation.
Okay.
Right. So you're actually, your customer's asking for some galvanizing to be done to some material that you're selling them, or a packaging operation or quality control. Maybe you're going to do sterilization or something, right, on the products. You want to be able to send a PO directly from the sales order to the vendor to carry out that service.
Okay.
So it's and you want to match the cost and the sale together.
Okay.
It sounds like weird, like, well, yeah, why would I want to do non-inventory items for plan? Why would I ever plan to purchase non-inventory type items?
Yeah.
And
that's exactly what I was thinking.
There are scenarios.
Okay. All right. Next up, we've got the bank and payment reconciliations, which I believe is to be, the payment reconciliation journal and bank reconciliation page have basically been improved and enhanced with just some added capabilities. Nothing.
As they have been improved through every major release over the past 4 or 5 years.
Exactly.
Which is fine. They need to continue working at it. It's not quite there yet. Bank reconciliations are terrible. No one likes to do them. Even people with accounting degrees hate doing bank reconciliations. So I can understand. They want to make that as easy and simple as possible for bookkeepers or people, right? People with these small, mid-sized businesses to be able to do.
You still think improvements can be had in the future?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Next up, couple records between Business Central and Dataverse. And I guess apps for Dataverse in bulk. I took this to mean that, better data that is more accurate is what you'll be getting. So you can improve your data transferred by being able to filter and synchronize the data you want between BC and Dataverse. And also you can define which fields to map between BC, Dataverse, and like D365 for sales. So this kind of goes against the disable the integration records that you talked about before, right?
Yep.
You got to have it.
Yep. Yeah, and the only other, there's 14 application improvements overall here. The only other one I wanted to kind of mention was that they've added the ability, if you're using items and you have multiple locations, you actually now on your stock keeping unit record can specify a specific bill of material, production bill of material, or production routing. So because you may make an item differently at one location than how you make it at a different location.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually could specify a routing or a BOM that's different than what's on the item card on your location stock keeping unit record. So nice addition.
All right. Well, the only other one I wanted to talk about, I found kind of interesting, which is the list of trusted partner apps. I see this as a mostly good thing. So this is where partners can actually preload a list of, I guess, approved apps into Business Central for the customer to see and basically have no fear of downloading and editing to your Business Central. Because I guess in the past, there's been some issues where a customer is going to go into App Stores, download an app, and it might interact differently with your processes, setups, or other apps or whatnot. You may throw an error message and whatnot.
Now, are they not following best practices and first installing that app into a sandbox environment?
Most likely, yeah. Most likely not. So I thought this was interesting. I like I said, I thought it was mostly good because I think, partners are only going to put out apps that they're familiar with and know that work. The bad thing to this is they're only going to put out apps that they know that work and that they have affiliations with. So it's going to stop kind of customers from going on to app stores and exploring different apps. And you might actually not find then that diamond in the rough for an app. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But other than that,
like the government telling you what you can or can't do.
Exactly. That's a whole nother segment.
Separate podcast.
Yeah, sorry, exactly. Separate podcast. All right. What do we got here? What do we got up next? Better with Microsoft 365 is the section I guess we'll talk about next. Ken, you want to talk about any favorites in there? You got any favorites?
Yeah, again, I'm going back to what we talked about earlier, which was Excel and how you work with Excel. So when you export a report to Excel from the request page, you can now export the raw data without the report layout. And there's also some enhancements to the Excel add-in and how you can edit in Excel.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are just performance and stability improvements.
Yeah.
But again, going back, the ability to run any report and export it to Excel in a clean grid style format that you can then use for other uses. I love it.
Yeah. Excel is definitely a fan favorite. I think Microsoft obviously realized that, so they're continually trying to improve it. So that's awesome. All right, the one I want to talk about, no surprise here, is share a record link to Microsoft Teams. So from actually within Business Central, you'll be able to choose a Teams person, group, or channel that you want to share something with, and then you can actually send a message or the actual link in the message to that Business Central record. So you no longer you have to go into Microsoft Teams, copy the link, paste it into Teams, and send it. You can actually do all of that right now from directly within Business Central.
That's so first half 2021.
Yep, it is. But some things are just that way with life.
Aren't we gonna be bragging about that feature, next?
Yeah, probably. If it works. All right. Let's see. Development. Here we go. Obviously, our two favorite.
Oh,
our
yeah,
favorite sections.
can I'll handle this one.
Oh, please do.
There's a bunch of cool development features that are coming out that are gonna help developers install and implement more quickly and debug issues more quickly.
That about sums it up. Yeah, I mean, I don't, like I said, I'm not a developer, but looking at all of them, it looks like that pretty much sums it up. Everything's geared towards debugging or speeding things up. So
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're wrong. If anybody
Yeah.
out there's listening that's a developer and knows we're wrong, let us know.
There is one thing I think maybe it makes sense. Well, no, let's
Makes sense.
let's skip that. So I'll move on. Country and regional improvements. Again, if you're not in the US or North America, some of the new regional or countries that are now available for Business Central are Argentina, Bulgaria, Chile, Myanmar, Puerto Rico, Slovakia, and Ukraine. And these are all partner-led localizations. So the Microsoft partners are out there creating relevant localization apps that are published to AppSource. So you can take the standard Microsoft Business Central product, use the appropriate language, and then install the appropriate localization app to provide that localization functionality. So
Interesting.
it's kind of the new model.
Very interesting. So does that mean anybody who's willing to pay in US dollars, if you're a US based company, you can sell to anybody in the world as long as they pay you in US dollars and then just give them their localization?
I don't know. That's a good question.
All right, next up, governance and administration. Sounds pretty fun just by the title. You want to jump in? You got any favorites in this one?
Yeah, I do. So one of the things, if you go into the Business Central Admin Center, one of the things that you've been able to do is create a new sandbox environment by copying your production environment, right? But that was really the only way you could copy environments.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to have the ability to copy a sandbox to a new sandbox, which I can see many instances why you might want to do that.
Yep.
You could also copy a production environment to a second production environment. So because you can have multiple production environments in one tenant. Or you can, I think, even go a sandbox environment to a production environment.
Yeah.
So it's kind of any combination.
Right.
Really.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. Excuse me. Do you have any idea? I think what Business Central, you only get three sandbox environments, right?
Yes.
Why do, and this was probably the same for Nav, why do they charge extra for the sandbox environments? Do you have any idea? I understand that why.
Beyond 3, you mean?
Yeah, I understand why they charge more for production environments. It
takes up more space, more resources.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense. All right. So one of my favorites, and I actually haven't had any experience with this, but I like the feature called restarting environments. I think that, if you have an issue or whatnot and something's happened, you can actually just go in real quick and just restart that particular environment. You don't have to go through the whole process that it is now. So it's a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
That's about it. Any more for you in the governance and
There was
administration?
just were 4 of those. I think we covered 2 of them there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to take the next one?
Well, the next one is Power Platform. Yeah. So, and this one is, again, this is maybe a little in the weeds for people, but obviously Power BI is fully integrated with Business Central, and you can create report data sets for Power BI. Previously, you were only able to use the default workspace with Business Central. And so there's a new feature, new functionalities coming out in the fall, where you can now embed reports into Business Central onto the Role Center page from any of your personal or shared Power BI workspaces.
Huge.
So, yeah, so if you have other applications,
Mhm.
right, you've already created other workspaces for other users or other applications, you can actually now embed those reports inside the Business Central application.
That's big time.
Yeah.
And then finally, I think this is the final section, right? Modern clients. So
Yep.
modern clients is basically it's just improvements to, like faster opening pages. There's one discovering reports and administration areas in the role explorer. So there's, it features new easy ways to discover the actions by filtering things. Not too much to really
Maximizing the use of the screen, right?
the header
The
and everything.
space, reducing
Yeah.
wasted space and making it look cleaner and operate more effectively.
Yeah, pretty nice. Do we miss anything you want to talk about?
Well, I do have the one thing within the modern client.
Oh,
And it's and I think for a typical end user, this is crucial. It's the description is unhindered data entry access across rows. And so what this means is, well, what it says, basically when you type data into, like, let's say you're entering a sales order
Mhm.
and you're keying in a bunch of items and quantities, right?
Okay.
You've got like 12 lines or 15 lines to enter. What used to happen is if you type in the item number, hit tab, 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 enter the quantity, and then tab, tab, tab. If you got ahead of the system, it wouldn't keep track of all your keystrokes.
Got you. So you're actually typing faster
Then
than
the
what you were
system was
showing.
recognizing the
Yeah.
characters. In the old like character-based systems like DOS systems or
Yeah.
Unix systems, users would like memorize. They knew, like, type in the item, tab,
Yeah.
tab, tab, quantity 2, tab, 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 item number, blah, blah, blah.
And then
And
watch
then
it
the
manipulate.
and then the system would kind of catch up, right? Eventually.
Yeah.
Well, Business Central in the new modern client wasn't doing that, and it sounds like now it will.
Nice.
So for people who are doing high speed data entry, super efficient,
Yeah.
with keying in entries, journal lines or invoice lines, this is going to be a big improvement.
It's huge for them.
So,
What do you say? You got to type what, 90 words per minute or quicker to notice?
no, you just got to know your item numbers and your quantity, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I've noticed it. It's happened. I've had issues with it myself. I'm not 90 words a minute, but
Oh, I bet you are. You're pretty quick.
yeah, but I've had that happen.
All right. So that is. Oh,
We have one more section, service and platform.
Did I skip it?
So service and platform is the last one. So one is that there are controls now in place that will eliminate excessive background sessions from slowing down your performance. So there's configuration settings where you can limit or control how many background sessions can be running at a time, to make sure your performance doesn't get bogged down. And then there's another one, it's just called OData read only intent. And it kind of seems like, what? But this is actually pretty cool. So let's say you have another application that's reading data out of Business Central. Maybe you're pulling item data or pricing data for like an e-commerce site.
Okay.
Or something. Well, previously you would have to build some sort of web service that is reading data out of the production environment, right? In real time, and it's pulling the data down. Well, that would have an impact on your performance.
Right.
What Microsoft is now doing with Business Central is they're maintaining a replica at all times of your Business Central database and keeping it in sync with your real database. And so the developer who's writing that integration can actually indicate through their code that they're doing a read-only call and that they would like to use the read-only database replica.
Gotcha.
And so what it means is they can be sitting there all day doing reads of data and pulling data and whatever they're doing and have zero impact on your production environment.
It's pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
Was it an issue in the past?
It could be, right? Like if you have someone who's saying, well, every 30 minutes, I'm going to pull all of the item data or item availability, right?
Yeah.
Like quantity on hands,
Okay.
because we want to update our website with current on-hand inventory availability.
Mhm.
So if you're running that, let's say once every 30 minutes and it's taking 5 minutes to run, while it's running, it would be utilizing your production
Right.
environment's resources.
Yeah.
Because it's like another user who's running a query against the database. Now you call out that this is a read-only activity. You can pull from that replica database and eliminate that performance problem.
It's a pretty good update.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's our condensed version then of
Yeah, what is there, about 39 or
somewhere around there.
45?
Somewhere around there. Yeah. What we'll do is we'll put like we'll put our notes in spreadsheet or whatnot on the show notes so you can see what we think of each feature.
Yeah, yeah.
And then coming up, one of my favorite segments probably, we're going to talk about the team's integration with Business Central.